off by asking. Okay, so you heard this morning. Just want to start off by asking you, how have you been feeling lately? Just describe me, any pain, symptoms, if you've been feeling fine, what have you been eating? Just, just talk to me.
Well, I eat a lot of sweets, had to keep up my blood sugar.
A lot of sweets. And how does that make you feel throughout the day?
I mean, at one point I'm feeling good, but then next minute I'm like down, kind of depressed.
Okay.
I eat sweets again.
Now, if you could run me
what your meal plan would be for like a day, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What would you say that you have?
I usually skip breakfast, I just have a granola bar from here and there.
Okay.
And then lunch, I really try to have a full meal, soda, some burger, fries, and dessert afterwards.
Okay.
And then lunch is same thing, but extra dessert.
Okay. Have you been feeling kind of like fatigued, tired? Your weight levels are kind of like up and down?
Yes.
Okay.
But, my weight stays the same. Everything's getting
Okay. I think you may have diabetes. Have you heard of that? Are you kind of familiar with it?
Oh yeah, I heard of it, but I think I'm too young for diabetes, don't you?
Not necessarily, because diabetes, that's a group of diseases that result in too much sugar in the blood. And there's 3 types of diabetes. And I could go break it down for you. Do you have any questions for maybe? And I could go into depth about it. I could run some tests.
I got diabetes from eating too much sugar?
Yes, entirely too much sugar. Soda, chips, candy, cookies. Especially at this early time in the morning, that's not, good for your body levels.
Is it permanent?
It's pretty much a permanent disease. There's different stuff that you can do, physical activity. You need to exercise, eat better, fruits. Let's replace the cookies with fruits, vegetables, nuts, things like that that can control your blood glucose levels.
Then is it common for young people to get diabetes?
There is common, and I could tell you more about that. And type 1 diabetes, that presents itself more so in your childhood or like adolescence. And those are like insulin dependent, diabetes.
I'm kind of scared of shots, so is there anything else I can do that on?
Well, there are certain treatment plans. You have glucose tablets, which you would need to take those just in case your sugar levels do get too low. I know it can kind of sound like, it coincides with one another, but you take those. You have insulin shots to bring your insulin back up to the level it's supposed to be, and then you have oral medication. So we can find something that, really works and fits into what you need to do.
Action.
The test is called the fasting plasma glucose test, and it requires you to fast overnight, which we already had you do, and a small sample of blood is tested for glucose concentration. And if your FPG level is greater than 1 equal or 100 milligrams, that indicates you may be a pre-diabetic. And if it's equal or greater to 126 milligrams, then it already indicates you have diabetes. So your results had already came back, and you are someone who has diabetes type 2. So now we're gonna have to switch the course of action here. That's pills and a glucose insulin shot thing, and you now have to take those daily.
I'm not a fan of pills.
Well, the pills, they're going to, help basically your glucose levels in different type of ways, and reducing the liver's glucose production. It will slowly absorb all your carbohydrates from the small intestine, increasing, pancreatic insulin producer. And this is basically increasing, your insulin sensitivity. So this will help control your diabetes so you're not feeling, tired, fatigued, all the time. So we're going to need you to take the pills.
Is there anything else I can do? Like less needly and pill popping?
Well, we do have one more alternative. It hasn't really been tested yet. We're coming out with a commercial soon, and you should be on the lookout for it. It's called Bees Away.
Really?
It's a spray, and you spray it on you, and poof, like that, it's gone. No pills, no glucose tablets, no insulin shots, no needles, no nothing.
I'll look into that.
Are you tired of taking those insulin shots and shoving pills down your throat? Introducing new to the market, Beatty's Way. Diabetes gone with just one spray. Go, keep going.
I was like, just go back. Our doctor's dream come true. Diabetes away in just one spray. Watch as I do work. You're cured. Cured.
I feel so much better. Oh my God.
Okay, so basically, because I know this can sound scary and it's kind of like life-threatening, but I'm just really going to explain everything to you about diabetes that you should know, the risk factors, symptoms, different types. As I'm just running down, if you have any more questions, you can definitely just ask me. Just to start off with a fact, not to scare you, but it does kill more Americans each year than breast cancer, AIDS, and millions suffer from physical and emotional burdens of just dealing with this difficult disease. Because since it can be so onset and it can kind of creep up on you, sometimes people don't even know that they have it until symptoms present themselves, really. So some risk factors, would definitely be your body weight, any type of dietary choices, your level of physical activity. Are you pretty active or? Yeah, you got to get active. Your sleeping patterns, what time do you go to sleep at night?
Well, it varies. Being a student, I can go to sleep early and then I won't get no sleep. It just depends on the day.
That's definitely a factor, and definitely your stress level. So as you said, as a student, I already know, you could be stressed out with school, papers, so that can be a lot. And type 2 diabetes, I'm going to get into the different types later, but that is linked to, overweight and obesity, but, you don't have that problem, but that's what some people carry on with the diabetes. So, like I said, inadequate sleep may contribute to the development of, type 2 diabetes. And there's a link between the body clock hormone and melatonin, and that coincides with type 2 diabetes as well. And melatonin, that regulates the release of insulin, which adjusts our blood sugar levels. So we really need that. That's important for us to go through each day. Now, in the beginning stages of diabetes, there is something called prediabetes, and an estimate of that would be 79 million Americans, 20 or older, so right around in your age group. 35% of the adult population have set symptoms known as prediabetes. So that's something that's indicated right before you get diagnosed. I mean, you could be treated out of being a pre-diabetic and your diabetes could be gone, but it's really just depending on you and your lifestyle, what you eat, and how much you exercise, really. And that's just, like I said, a condition in which, your blood glucose levels are higher than normal, but not high enough to be classified as diabetes. And so just to break it down to you even more, like I said, it's really 2 types, but they have added a 3rd type. So just to start off, the type 1 diabetes, that's mostly an insulin-dependent diabetic. So it's an autoimmune system disease in which the immune system attacks and destroys insulin, and making cells in the pancreas reduce or stop insulin production. So it's stopping all the insulin flowing through your body how it should regularly. And now without insulin, cells cannot take up glucose and blood glucose levels, and they become permanently damaged. So if they're permanently damaged, then, that's why you would feel how you feel now. And this used to be called, juvenile diabetes because it, like I said, it appears during your childhood and adolescence. So really, most people are born with it if you have type 1. And people. Okay, so that was type 1 that I was explaining to you. Now with type 2, that's, the non-insulin dependent diabetics, and that really depends on either the pancreas doesn't make sufficient insulin of the body cells and they become resistant to its effects and don't officially use available insulin. Now with type 2, that develops slowly, unlikely as, type 1. So in the early stages, the cells begin to resist the effects of insulin. So basically, as the blood glucose levels gradually rise, the pancreas attempts to compensate by producing more insulin, but over time, more and more, the pancreatic insulin producing cells sustain the damage and become non-functional. So really, as insulin output declines, your blood glucose levels rise enough to warrant, diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. So that's how you really get type 2.
So how do you feel about the Beatty's Way?
Well, I feel so much better since I started. Oh my God, you started.
So how do you feel about the BBs away?
I feel so much better compared to taking the insulin every day. Like, I would sweat all the time. I'm always going into a diabetic coma. Like, I'm always not feeling good. And once I use that spray, I feel so much better. I get to eat my Snicker the way I want to. Mm, 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 mm. I love that
How do
spray.
you feel about the BBs away spray by day? Diabetes gone with just one spray.
The diabetes away has helped me so much. No more taking these pills every day, and it just now I can eat whatever I want, eat my food and my cookies, and drink this fruit punch juice.